Ozark Highlands Radio is brought to you by the Ozark Folk Center State Park in Mountain View, Arkansas, a wonderful way to enjoy yesterday. On the web at ozarkfolkcenter.com.
Greetings, everybody. This is Dave Smith, host of Ozark Highlands Radio. Welcome to our show. This week, music and interviews with talented twin Texas bluegrass and gospel duo, the Purple Hulls, recorded live here at the Ozark Folk Center State Park. Down in the vault, Mark Jones will offer an archival recording of Ozark original Donnie Dutton performing the traditional tune Wildwood Flower. Writer and historian Dr. Brooks Blevins recounts the American geographer, geologist, and ethnologist Henry Schoolcraft's experience in the early Ozark region. All that this week on Ozark Highlands Radio. You could easily say that these two musicians were born to make music together. Identical twins Katie Lou and Penny Lee Clark of the Purple Hulls were raised on a working family farm in the deep piney woods of East Texas. But that didn't stop the Texans from finding their way to the hills of Tennessee, specifically Music City, where they began touring with various country artists and writing songs for Nashville's largest publishing company. Last summer they did a show here and knocked us out with their fine musicianship. Here they are on our stage.
When I was a little bitty baby, my mama would rock me in the cradle in them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. Now when them cotton bolls get rotten, you can't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. When I was a little bitty baby, my mama would rock me in the cradle in them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. Now when them cotton bolls get rotten, you can't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. In them old cotton fields back home.
I guess as far as speaking about East Texas, there really isn't a whole lot of bluegrass tradition when comparing to some of the Appalachian states, you know. But I do think we do have a little bit of that goes further back than, you know, just modern day. And, you know, we didn't grow up playing bluegrass, but we definitely grew up listening to bluegrass bands that would come through the Overton Bluegrass Festival, and we're very influenced by that, I'd say. And we also grew up hearing Western swing music, and of course, being in Texas, that was everywhere in Texas, and so I think that was a part of the Northeast Texas music for sure.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think we went to one festival a year in the bluegrass scene. That's pretty much all of the live music that we got to go to as kids. We were so busy on the farm and doing sports and things that, you know, we always sang it, but we never picked up the instruments until 17 years old. But always looked at those bands at the festivals and thought, wow, could you imagine like playing with your family on stage? Like, and here we are doing it.
There's a new moon over my shoulder, and an old love still in my heart. I remember now that I'm older what you told me the day we had to part. You promised with the new moon you'd be
playing.
Yeah, we were just playing for fun, and then our brother, who had just gone through the music program at South Plains College, he said, y'all should, you better take advantage of the teachers out here. Like, you're 8 hours away from home. Y'all should, learn how to play some banjo while you're here. It wasn't on our radar as something we wanted to pursue as a career at that time. It was more just like, well, since we're out here, we'll take some lessons. But basketball coach didn't really like that too much because, rightly so, that was a really rigorous program. They were, national champions the year before. There was no time to practice music and basketball. So I hurt my shoulder, and that kind of led to things, well, we can't really play ball. Well, originally, we got a music scholarship after that.
Yeah, after that was
right.
music.
But we were able to apply and still get a scholarship for the music.
Yeah, the scholarship at the basketball didn't work out because we chose music. So anyway.
Yeah, we never played an actual game, and so we didn't never use the scholarship, the basketball scholarship that was available. So we kind of dropped it.
Welcome to West Texas. There's music in the air. Dust clouds, a tornado or two, no telling what's up there. Well, the wind outside is howling, coyotes crying fear. Welcome to West Texas, you're gonna like it here. We wake up in a dust storm, at noon it starts to rain. The front blows through at 2:15, at 3 it's sunny again. The wind picks up a little, you see a house go flying by. Be sure to watch your spit or it'll hit you in the eye. Welcome to West Texas, there's music in the air. Dust clouds, a tornado or two, no telling what's up there. Well, the wind outside is howling, coyotes crying fear. Welcome to West Texas, you're gonna like it here. Here comes the big blue northern, and it's looking cold and dense. In the morning, grab an ice pick, chip the livestock off the fence. If you don't like the weather, you just wait an hour or two. Yesterday's high was 95, this morning is 22. Welcome to West Texas, there's music in the air. Dust clouds, a tornado or two, no telling what's up there. Well, the wind outside is howling, coyotes crying fear. Welcome to West Texas, you're gonna like it here. Take me. Be sure to nail those windows shut, stuff paper in the cracks. Cowboys, pull your kerchiefs up, may the wind be at your back. Don't worry about breathing dust in, the scientific research shows the West Texas dust is so big that it won't fit in your nose. Oh, welcome to West Texas, there's music in the air. Dust clouds, a UFO, no telling what's up there. Well, the wind outside is howling, coyotes crying fear. Welcome to West Texas, you're gonna like it here. Welcome to West Texas, you're gonna like it here.
Yeah,
We're twins.
We're twins, so we're almost we're the same age. We just came out at different time. Is that too far?
We always liked music and grew up singing in church, and we took piano lessons from our grandmother, who was a great piano player and teacher, and our mom played piano. So there was that kind of music in the home, but we didn't have any stringed instruments or anything of that nature. We were just kind of fans, and like she said, we were busy with other things, but it just so happened that my uncle had didn't want to really play banjo anymore. He was moving on to a home that he was staying in and couldn't really play banjo, so he said, well, why don't y'all take it? And that's kind of how it started.
We did all the sports, but mainly basketball. So we actually went to college to play basketball on a basketball scholarship. But it happened to be the same college that offered the very unique commercial music program that we went through out in West Texas and Levelland, Texas. And so we kind of ditched basketball and pursued music because there's no way you could do both.
There's no power in the water, be it the mighty Mississippi or the Jordan when it floods. There's no power in the water to take away our sin. The power's in the blood. God sent John the Baptist to preach and make the way for the Savior who would save the whole world through. Well, John baptized with water, said one more powerful would come. There's something even John the Baptist knew. There's no power in the water, be it the mighty Mississippi or the Jordan when it floods. There's no power in the water to take away our sin. The power's in the blood. Take it, Katie. At the pools of Bethesda, Jesus met a man with an illness 40 years could not dispel. He was waiting by the water to be healed when Jesus said, take up your bed and walk, you've been made well. There's no power in the water, be it the mighty Mississippi or the Jordan when it floods. There's no power in the water to make us new again. The power's in the blood. There's no power in the water, be it the mighty Mississippi or the Jordan when it floods. There's no power in the water to take away our sin. The power's in the blood to make us new again. The power's in the blood. It's in the blood.
The purple hulls, well, purple hulls are actually a variety of pea, much like the black-eyed pea, but better, I think. We grew up on a farm where we raised various vegetables and things, but in college we started growing purple hull peas during the summer when we'd come home to pick and just sell to the public. And our dad would plant the peas and fertilize and everything. By the time we got home from South Plains College, they'd be ready, just about ready to pick and sell. And so when we were thinking about band names, I guess it was a few years later, it was something that, a little bit resonated with our upbringing and just kind of connected us a little bit with home because we were in Nashville at the time. And so just something that really relatable to our upbringing. And it also causes a lot of good conversation.
Sure.
We end up talking about farming everywhere we go. It's kind of funny.
Don't give me that hope, so think, so maybe, so salvation. The kind that'll leave here with no consolation. I want the kind that'll turn my life around. Just give me that hold out, worked out, got a shout salvation. The paid up, prayed up, next to kin relation. The kind that Jesus paid for on Calvary. Well, some folks live their lives defeated, always worried about their souls. By doing good deeds, maybe give me some money, they hope to reach heaven, sure. But the Bible says put your faith in Jesus, get under that crimson flow. He'll wash away your sins, place you in the Father's hand, and put the joy down in your soul. Don't give me that hope, so think, so maybe, so salvation. The kind that'll leave you here with no consolation. I want the kind that'll turn my life around. Just give me that hold out, worked out, got a shout salvation. The paid up, prayed up, next to kin relation. The kind that Jesus paid for on Calvary. Jesus, brother is the only way. Don't give me that hope, so think, so maybe so salvation. The kind that'll leave you here with no consolation. I want the kind that'll turn my life around. Just give me that holdout, worked out, got a shot salvation. The paid up, prayed up, next to kin relation. The kind that Jesus paid for in Calvary, Calvary, Calvary.
Yeah, I may have come here like on a little camping trip at one time, but
Yeah.
I've never experienced the Ozarks.
We've
like,
never played here.
So
I've never
you've had
played in the Ozarks. I fell in love with
beautiful.
Arkansas yesterday, and I posted a picture of that on Facebook of me near the water mill on the river, and just I really didn't know there was so much. Arkansas had that much to offer as far as like just exploring and sights and just free roaming places at this park. I mean, I guess I've never really thought much about it, honestly, but I've been looking forward to this. And so I kept hearing from everywhere we go, they always say, have you played Mountain View yet? Have you played Mountain View?
I bet
Probably
100
times.
people at different shows through the past 5 years. have
Oh,
said,
you should go to Mountain View.
y'all belong at Mountain View.
And so yesterday was great. We did the cave, the cavern.
Yep.
And then we really explored a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You've been listening to the identical twin musical duo, the Purple Hulls. The girls began that set with Cotton Fields, followed by There's a New Moon Over My Shoulder, and then 3 original songs, Welcome to West Texas, No Power in the Water, and Don't Gimme That, and finished with Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. After this short break, I'll be making my way down to the vault for a visit with the colorful and entertaining Mark Jones. This is Ozark Highlands Radio. Welcome back to Ozark Highlands Radio. As I promised earlier, it's time for my weekly trip down to the vault to visit with Mark Jones. Let's head down there now. Hey, Mark. Mark.
What?
Well, I'm glad to hear you listening to something down here.
I am. Hey, Dave, let me turn this down here.
Boy, that was some pretty fine playing. That sounded like Merle Travis playing the 9-pound hammer. Am I right about that?
It is. Merle's been a friend of Dad's for a long time, so he's kind of been an uncle to me.
Well, I'll bet.
And referred to Uncle Merle all my life.
You know, and for years now, we've had the Merle Travis tribute here every summer for a long time now. When did we start that?
Well, we started that in 1979. Jack Quayle and I were talking about trying to get a festival or a contest or something together, you know, for guitar players that lived here. And Mike Sutter was involved in it, but I called Uncle Merle, and all Merle's response was, well, let me know when, where, and I'll be there. And he came down, we did the first thumb-picking contest in 1979, May of that year.
Yeah, and thumb picking, of course, is that style of guitar that was really started by Merle Travis. He invented it, didn't he?
Well, he helped develop it. It was going on by a lot of different players up in that part of Kentucky, and it's real funny, up in Muhlenberg County in Kentucky, he had learned from Mose Rager, Ike Everly. The Everly brothers' father played that style, and Merle learned so much and kind of developed it into what it is today.
I remember he came to the first couple of the shows that we had, the Thumb-Picking Weekends.
He sure did. It was great to have him here.
He was an old guy, but he could still pick that guitar, couldn't he?
You know what? I run across a recording of Merle presenting the award to the fellow that won it.
I'd love to hear that.
All right. Here's Uncle Merle presenting the award to Donnie Dutton.
I want you to help me with the presentation, Merle. I think it'll mean more coming from you than it would from us here. We're going to ask Merle, if you haven't seen this plaque, you've got to come back and see it. This has got Merle's likeness on it with his guitar, and the winner each year will be added. And I'm going to ask Merle, if he will, to present this to our winner this year, Donnie Dutton, if you will, Merle.
Good. Donnie, come here, buddy. To you, possibly, and to the folks out here in the audience, let me explain exactly how this happened. Me and Joe and Lena sat back there, and nobody told us who was playing. and when you come on, I'll tell you, you come on. I said, don't kid me, they've slipped Chet Atkins in there. You was terrific. You sounded wonderful, and it's my pleasure, of course, to present you with this trophy. And your name, of course, will be first. And I'm sure that a number of famous guitar players in the future will be after it, as well as yours.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
He's good.
Well, that's nice to hear. That was very kind of Merle to make that reference to Chet Atkins, wasn't it?
Yes, it sure was.
I wonder, have you got a recording of Donnie Dutton, the guy who won the contest?
I do. Would you like to hear that?
I'd love to.
All right.
That's a good old tune. The Wildwood Flower, you know, it's interesting the way he played that. He started out kind of with the flat picking style that we're all used to hearing that tune played at, and then switched over into that sweet thumb picking sound.
That's right. Showed the difference of the two.
That's very interesting. Mark, thank you very much. It's been great to hear these tunes today.
Thank you.
Let's get back to some more music from this week's featured musicians, the Purple Hulls. The first thing you notice about the Clark Twins stage show is their infectious enthusiasm for what they do, their powerful voices and adept musicianship. Let's go back down to the stage for some more music from the Purple Hulls.
One that we just most recently written is one that we wrote about our dad. And it's more of kind of a singer-songwriter-y style. We both play guitar, but it's just made up really of a bunch of things that we wish maybe our dad could be here for since passing. Things that have just happened since his passing, like little things and playing the Grand Ole Opry, or and then and that's a big thing. But just things like that. And that song for us was probably one of the most easy songs to write, I think, because it just flowed out just so naturally. That's why a really special one to us, and it seems to resonate with a lot of people because so many people have lost somebody, and a lot of people have lost their fathers. And so I love that it brings a lot of good conversation after shows, and it brings a lot of tears, but also a lot of people come up with real fun memories and stories about their upbringing, and I love when songs can create that kind of, atmosphere. So.
I remember you leaving down that dusty old driveway in the summer of 13. You'd always said that you had no doubts of where you were going, but you sure hated to leave your family. I wish you could have seen the sky that day, just as the hearse drove you away. There is peace in the storm, smiles on our faces. We took pictures under red and orange and blue. Things I wish you knew, things I wish my daddy knew. When they laid your body in the ground, well, you wouldn't believe all the people around that grave. And after lunch, your friends came out. Oh, and I could write a book with all the things they had to say of you in your younger days. I wish you could have seen the crop that year. We had record rains and the pond finally reached the pier. I missed your predictions on the forecast when a storm was rolling in. Just didn't see this one hitting us so soon. Things I wish my daddy knew. I wish you knew how Mom was working hard to be strong for the family. She's still learning how to drive her tractor right without riding the clutch too tight. Your babies play the Opry in Nashville, Tennessee on the instruments you gave us. I could feel you there with me. And as for that old 22, it's still a shooting true in Sally trees, the coons up high at night. All your grandkids say they want to be like you. Things I wish my daddy knew. Up there with Jesus, you're better there than with us. Cancer ain't got nothing there on you. And I sit and ponder of all the wonders, you know, that you might wish that I knew too. I still wish you knew how Mama's working hard to be strong for the family. She's still learning how to drive her tractor right without riding the clutch too tight. Your babies play the Joffrey up in Nashville, Tennessee. On the instruments that you gave us, I can feel you there with me. Your family tree grew another line. She's got red hair, but she ain't mine. I'm still waiting to find a man like you. But would you know it ain't so easy to do? Things I wish you knew. Things I wish my daddy knew.
Yeah, for sure.
Music,
and I think a lot
really
of
powerful.
If we're talking about that song, people always they're always like astonished that we can get through a song like that and just get through it, not cry, and because there usually are a number of people crying in the audience, and so, but really I got out many of the tears while writing the song, and so I just want to do my best to perform it kind of in his honor, and for people to be able to understand the words, so you can't really cry through it. So it's kind of a mind over matter thing, And so, I've learned. I've learned it the hard way. It took me a few times to be able to sing that without crying.
I can imagine.
So, yeah.
I can imagine.
I've been around just long enough to know just what love is. Like the look I'd see on my mama's face every time daddy still a kiss. With faith in the Lord side by side, forever in their hearts and the fire in their eyes. That's one thing that money can't buy and time can't ever erase. They got a new old-fashioned love, the kind this old world needs more of. Like a Sunday morning church bell ringing, dinner on the ground and everybody singing about a new old-fashioned love. Daddy get tight with an old violin song and on an old-time tune. Then the opera come on the radio and Mama dance around the room. He smacked her bottom and she'd act a little mad, but all of us kids knew better than that. I think she really liked it, as a matter of fact. I think that Daddy did too. They got a new old-fashioned love, the kind this old world needs more of. Like a Sunday morning church bell ringing, dinner on the ground and everybody singing about a new old-fashioned love. They got a new old-fashioned love. Where do you come from? Where do you go? Where do you come from? Cotton Eye Joe, where do you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Been at me for Cotton Eye Joe. I've been married a long time ago. I've been married a long time ago. He came to town like a midwinter storm. He rode to the field so handsome and strong. His eyes was a smile and his tool was his gun, but all he was coming for was having some fun. Where do you come from? Where do you go? Where do you come from? Cotton Eye Joe, where do you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Been at me for Cotton Eye Joe. I'd have been married a long time ago. I'd have been married a long time ago. He brought disaster wherever he went. The hearts of the girls was to hell broken sin. They all run away so nobody would know. Left only men cause of Cotton Eye Joe. Where do you come from? Where do you go? Where do you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Where do you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Been at me for Cotton Eye Joe. I'd have been married a long time ago. I'd have been married a long time ago.
Katie Lou and Penny Lee Clark. the Purple Hulls, recorded live on stage at the Ozark Folk Center State Park in Mountain View, Arkansas. We heard a medley of 3 great old fiddle tunes, Bill Cheatham, Black Mountain Rag, and Turkey in the Straw, followed by their moving original song, Things I Wish He Knew, and another original, New Old-Fashioned Love. There's more good music from these talented young ladies coming up in today's show, after this break, and a visit with folklorist Brooks Blevins in our guest host segment. You're listening to Ozark Highlands Radio.
Have you ever noticed that the trip to get someplace is always more exciting and often less hurried than the trip back home? Apparently it was no different 2 centuries ago. In our last installment, commemorating the 200th anniversary of Henry Schoolcraft's journey through the heart of the old Ozarks, we'll follow Schoolcraft and his companion, Levi Pettibone, on their trek back to their starting point, Potosi, Missouri. The duo, with 2 hunters for guides, made their farthest thrust into the remote Ozark region of southwestern Missouri during the first few days of the year 1819. On January 5th, the travelers rose early, blazed their names and the date on a large black oak tree, and headed southward toward the White River. More than a decade later, the first settlers of the town that would become Springfield, Missouri, would begin arriving on the prairies they left behind. To this point, Schoolcraft and Pettibone had been traipsing the Ozark backcountry for 2 months. The comparatively speedy return trip would take roughly 4 weeks. Agreeing that a different route, which is to say a route less likely to starve a couple of neophyte explorers, would be the best strategy for the return, our travelers launched a canoe on the crystal-clear White River at the mouth of Beaver Creek on January 9, 1819, and reached Batesville, Arkansas on the 18th. Along the way, they found time to search for Indian artifacts and specimens of rocks and minerals. They also met many of the White River Valley's earliest white residents. Among them were Solomon Yoakum, whose family would play a central role in some of the more colorful events of the old Ozarks. After surviving a tipped canoe in the churning, foaming rapids of the Bull Shoals, they stayed a night with a farmer and hunter named Augustine Friend, described by Schoolcraft as a hospitable man of some intelligence. Farther downstream, the intrepid duo met a Mr. Lee, described as the first Yankee encountered on their trip in the Ozarks, and another member of the Yoakum family, who borrowed the traveler's canoe to carry a load of bear's bacon and pork downriver. At the mouth of the North Fork, near the modern-day town of Norfolk, Arkansas, the duo were surprised to find a large keelboat made in Pittsburgh, being loaded with hides, meats, honey, and beeswax for the trip downstream. Our travelers spent 2 nights at the mouth of the North Fork, the second one confined in a small tavern with about a dozen hunters who had descended the river to sell hides and meat. Some drank, some sang, some danced. A considerable portion attempted all 3 together, a sleepless Schoolcraft recorded in his journal, and a scene of undistinguishable bawling and riot ensued. Escaping this night of carousing unscathed, the duo continued their float down the White River. They were soon entranced by the famous Calico Rock, which Schoolcraft described as a lofty, smooth wall of stratified limestone rock, presenting a diversity of color in squares, stripes, spots, or angles, all confusedly mixed and arranged according to the inimitable pencil of nature. 14 miles below the Calico Rock, they spent the night at the home of Jehoiada Jeffrey, in a place soon to be called Mount Olive. The following day, they floated and paddled another 35 miles, putting up for the night with the widow Lafferty, who remained in her cabin even though the land on which it set had been granted to the Cherokees less than 2 years earlier. On Monday, the 18th of January, the canoe passed out of the most rugged hills and came ashore 30 miles downstream at Poke Bayou, a raw village of about a dozen houses, today known as Batesville. At Poke Bayou, the weary travelers left the White River behind and proceeded on foot up the well-traveled trail to St. Louis. On the first day of walking, Schoolcraft severely sprained an ankle, but a good Samaritan let the injured traveler ride his horse a dozen miles to a tiny village on the Strawberry River in the vicinity of modern-day Smithville. At this point, Schoolcraft and Pettibone parted ways after 2.5 months together, as the latter was in too big a hurry to make it back to civilization to wait on his convalescing partner. After a couple of days of rest, Schoolcraft resumed his journey, traveling as rapidly as possible up the road, rarely venturing off the trail to survey mineral deposits. He crossed a series of rivers, the Spring, the 11 Point, the Current, the Little and Big Black Rivers, before he reached another small settlement where a doctor named Bettis operated a ferry across the St. Francis River. From this village, eventually called Greenville, Missouri, he made his way to the old French Creole village of St. Michael, a more substantial town of some 60 houses that was rapidly becoming Americanized as Fredericktown. Passing through the little community now known as Farmington, Missouri, a couple of days later, Schoolcraft finally made it back to Potosi on February 4th, 1819. I arrived at 3 o'clock in the afternoon after an absence of 90 days and having traveled more than 900 miles. This would be the last line of his journal. As far as we know, Schoolcraft never revisited the Ozark country, spending most of the rest of his life in the Great Lakes region, where he became a federal Indian agent and a noted expert on the traditions and folkways of the Ojibwe and other native peoples of the area. But Schoolcraft will forever be linked with our region through his journal. Published 2 years later in London, Schoolcraft's account of the flora, fauna, and people of the interior Ozarks was the first written record of the region that the world would see. Today, that journal remains one of our most valuable windows into the old Ozarks.
Thanks, Brooks. Our featured guests this week, the Purple Hulls, are no strangers to the road. They keep up a pretty busy touring schedule and recently have played in Switzerland, Germany, England, and even the Faroe Islands, wherever that is. Google Purple Hulls and you can see their touring schedule. You may find them at a venue near you. Let's finish up today's show with 4 more from the Purple Hulls.
We loved it. I loved it. We were able to do many different things in the music world to like make money. You know, that's the difference between Nashville and where we live now. Just the opportunity to pursue different avenues of music. But yeah, we learned to write there. That was very influential for us. We got a deal with Sony Publishing to write songs, and so we were able to just learn from some of the best, and that really kind of inspired me to keep going and keep pursuing the music thing. The excitement of creating something new.
Moving back to Texas until our dad got ill, and it's like, well, you know, we spent 5 years in Nashville. Our brother still lives there. We go back there multiple times a year. We record there. We write there. We do a lot of work there. But I wouldn't say it was good to have that reason to come home. But looking back, it's like, yeah. And then we got to, got together with the Quabies and played a couple of years with them, and the things that have happened since moving home. I'm glad we ended up coming back to Texas. So we might go back to Tennessee. Who knows? We really enjoyed the time there. So.
Roly-poly, eating corn and taters, hungry every minute of the day. Roly-poly, gnawing on a biscuit, looks okay. He can eat an apple pie and barely even bat an eye. He likes everything from soup to hay. Roly-poly, daddy's little fatty. Bet he's gonna be a man someday. Roly-poly, scrambled eggs for breakfast, bread and jelly 20 times a day. Roly-poly, it's so hot to eat dinner. It takes lots of strength to run and play. Well, he pulls up weeds and he does the chores and he runs both ways to all the stores. He works up and down for tough that way. Roly-poly, daddy's little fatty. Bet he's gonna be a man someday.
Yeah.
It's hard. Sometimes where we are, it's like we feel a little alone. There are other people who play music for sure, but we're just so used to the community of people in Nashville and just always around our friends and everybody played and sang, and so it kind of made you be creative a lot. But we can find ourselves wasting a lot of time, spending a lot of times doing things outside of the realm of music. It's not a waste of time, but it's like, let's go build a chicken coop. Or just like,
and it'll be like 5 days and you haven't picked up an instrument at all.
We need to practice. Like, we have a show coming up. It's like, oh yeah, that's what we do for a living. Yeah, we better work on that. We need to write music.
In Nashville, that didn't happen.
So there's a lot of distractions right now in our lives with the farm lives. We have like nieces and nephews.
And none of our friends do music. They don't really understand.
Our friends are like, let's go do something else fun.
They're like, you're home. You're not working. And I'm like, no, my job is like, I'm self-employed. I have to make myself work when I'm home.
But yeah, Nashville is like every day you're diligent and working on music.
I read about a man one day wasting not his time away. He prayed to God. He prayed to God every morning, noon and night. He cared not for the things of Baal, but trusted one who never failed. Oh, Daniel prayed. Oh, Daniel prayed every morning, noon and night.
Oh, Daniel served living God while upon this earth
He tried. He prayed to God. He prayed to God every morning, noon and night.
cared not for the king's decree, but trusted God and said,
Oh, Daniel prayed. Oh, Daniel prayed every morning, noon and night. They locked him in the lion's den because he would not honor men. He prayed to God. He prayed to God every morning, noon and night. The jaws were locked and made him shout, but God soon brought him safely out. Oh, Daniel prayed. Oh, Daniel prayed every morning, noon and night.
Oh, Daniel served living God while upon this earth
He tried. He prayed to God. He prayed to God every morning, noon and night.
cared not for the king's decree, but trusted God and said,
Oh, Daniel prayed. Oh, Daniel prayed every morning, noon and night. Now, brothers, let us watch him pray like Daniel did from day to day. He prayed to God. He prayed to God every morning, noon and night. You too can gladly dare and do. Just pray to God, he'll see it through. Oh, Daniel prayed. Oh, Daniel prayed every morning, noon and night.
Oh, Daniel served living God while upon this earth
He tried. He prayed to God. He prayed to God every morning, noon and night.
cared not for the king's decree, but trusted God and said,
Oh, Daniel prayed. Oh, Daniel prayed every morning, noon.
Jed Molly. I don't feel like I have sacrificed that. Maybe looking back a few years later, I might say, you know, things would have been a lot different as far as that is concerned, building a family and things like that, if I wouldn't have pursued the music. But I think more so would be getting invested with people at home and probably within our family, friends, and church. And we moved back to our home place in Texas from Nashville in 2012. And so ever since we've been there, we've only been there a few weeks at a time. You know, it feels like, except for the first year we were there not doing any music at all because our dad was sick. But so that was really sweet to be able to reconnect with many people and build friendships that would last when we're on the road and everything else. So I think for me, that's probably the biggest sacrifice, because I miss out on just like getting invested in the people and around there. So.
He'll take it away and toss it out. He'll renew your faith, because right now he's holding his word. It's all the reason we wanna praise him and shout his promises. He said he will keep. I've got a God who can guarantee eternal life and everlasting breath. If we believe on his name, we will never see death. Jesus is my hope for salvation. He's never gonna let me go. What he began in me, said a word to completion. He's always holding on to my soul, and that is why I sing. No other love can never make me whole, and by his blood, Jesus claimed my soul. From now through all eternity, his Holy Spirit within seals a victory. Like a kid who finds a cool rock in the water, he's never gonna let me go. He's holding on to me. Oh, I have a Father who's always holding on to my soul. For me, he died, and now I have new life, and that is why I sing. Jesus is my hope for salvation. He's never gonna let me go. What he began in me, said a word to completion. He's holding on to my soul. Jesus is my hope for salvation. No, he's never gonna let me go. What he began in me, said a word to completion. Thank you so much. We're the Purple Holes. God bless y'all.
Identical twins Katie Lou and Penny Lee Clark, the Purple Hulls, playing New York Chimes, Roly Poly, Daniel Prade, and Never Gonna Let Me Go. Thanks for listening to our show. I hope you enjoyed listening to these energetic young women. Be sure to check us out at ozarkhighlandsradio.com and leave us a comment or a question on our Facebook page. For Ozark Highlands Radio, this is Dave Smith. See you next week.
Ozark Highlands Radio is produced by Jeff Glover. Executive producer is Darren Dorton. Additional support for this program comes from the Committee of 100, proudly supporting the Ozark Folk Center State Park since 1974. Arkansas State Parks, with 52 unique reasons to visit the natural state. On the web at arkansasstateparks.com. And by Stone Bank, with deep roots in Mountain View and a deep respect for those who preserve our heritage. More information about what it means to bank Boulder is at stonebank.com. For information on upcoming shows and events, we are on the web at ozarkhighlandsradio.com. Until next time, I'm Donna Farrar.